Hello dancers, I'm Sadie. I'm very happy to be sharing with you today some of my favorite veil techniques that you can hopefully add into your repertoire. So please make sure that you're thoroughly warmed up and stretched before beginning this video. I'm going to show you a few of my favorite stretches. Since we're going to be doing veil, we're going to be working a lot of the upper back and the arms, and we just want to make sure that we take a few extra minutes to make sure that we're really stretched and warmed up in that area. So let's go ahead and get started. We're just going to take a nice big inhale up, really stretching, feeling the rib cage expand. We're going to plie down, keeping those knees bent. Inhale up, and again we're going to exhale down. Notice how my knees are pressed back and my spine is staying straight. One more nice big plie. This time we're going to take the fingers, lace them together, palms reach up, continuing to stretch, lifting the rib cage. And let's just go ahead and take that back, feeling the abs stretching, continuing to breathe and expand the rib cage, filling our bodies with oxygen. We're going to reach forward, bending over, 90-degree angle, really pressing into those hamstrings, stretching all the way through the body. And we're going to drop it down center here. Go ahead and let your neck relax. And you want to press into this stretch as far as comfortable. You definitely want to feel a nice stretch in the hamstrings. And we're going to walk it over to our right side. From here, you're going to reach up with the right arm, looking towards the back wall. And release it. We're going to walk it back to the center. Gently walk those hands forward, just far enough to get a nice stretch into the calf muscles. Continuing to breathe, nice big deep inhales and exhales. Take it back to the center. Walk it over to the left. Really feel yourself pressing into that left leg. Trying to bring the rib cage towards your kneecap. And again, we're going to lift up with the left arm. Nice and high, fingertips towards the ceiling and looking towards the back wall. And again, releasing, bringing it center. We're going to plie those knees and we're going to roll up nice and slow, one vertebrae at a time, as slow as possible. Gently stretching our necks by rotating to your left. And take it the other direction, rotating to the right. And we're going to drop the left ear over to the left shoulder, stretching along here on the right side, keeping your right arm nice and long. And switch sides. And looking over the right shoulder. And the left shoulder. We're just going to rotate the arms back nice and long, warming up the shoulder area. Up and over, up and over, up and over, up and over. Allow the whole body to move, allow the rib cage to move. Take it a little faster. 7, 8. Rotate the other direction, starting nice and slow. Forward, 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 forward. And taking it up to speed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And another 8 count. 5, 6, 7, 8. And right here, a couple of these really opening the rib cage. And contracting, opening in the upper back as well as contracting. So from the side, you can really see open and contraction. And we're going to bring that left arm over, stretch, a couple rotating wrists. And other side. And rotate the wrist. Left arm comes up and we're going to drop it back. You're going to use your right arm to assist and gently pull until you feel a nice stretch. And again, make sure you're taking nice deep breaths. We're going to switch sides. Right comes down and gently pull. So definitely make sure that you take some extra time to stretch if you feel that you need it. Although veil can sometimes be slow and sensual, it's definitely very energetic and requires a lot of upper body strength. So please make sure that you're thoroughly warm. We're going to get started by addressing some of the questions that often arise by students when considering dancing with veils. We're going to talk about veil selection, when you might want to consider using and dancing with a veil, things like different ways to hold your veil when you're dancing with a veil. One of the fun things that I'm going to show you is actually how you can play finger cymbals while you're holding your veil as well. So some of you may already know some of these concepts and ideas, and if so, fast forward on to the fun techniques and combinations, and if not, just take a few minutes to review some of those questions with me. So talking about veil selection, there's dozens of different sizes and shapes and colors of veils. Some of the most popular ones are rectangular and then half circular. So I can show you a few examples of rectangular. This is one veil that I really enjoy dancing with. It's nice and long, and this is a very lightweight silk. So silk is one of the fabrics that we can use, and the weight of the silk will make a big difference in how it flows and how it feels. So this is a fun one that I enjoy working with, and through the techniques and the combinations, I will be showing you different examples of dancing with all these different kinds of veils. So getting to know your veil is an important step in veil dancing. Each one has its own personality, just like a dancer, and you really need to take the time to bond with your veil and to get to know how it flows and what kind of a dancing touch it needs to highlight it at its very best. So another rectangular veil that we have here, and this one is a heavier weight silk, so this one is going to actually flow different than the last one. And as you can see, the different colors and patterns are really fun to play with, gives the dancer a lot of options and variety to match the music selection you might be working with, your costumes, the emotions or the feelings that you might be wanting to create your mood on the stage. This one obviously has a nice fiery look, so if you're a fiery personality, this would be a very good veil selection for you. But you can already see I have to work a little bit harder to get this veil to fly than the last one because it's much heavier. It's not that one veil is better than the other. It's just that they're different, and you have to find the right one for you. And it's always good to be diverse and to be able to use different kinds of veils to have some variety. So those are the few rectangular ones. Then when we get to our circular ones, which I love for things like double veil and spinning and turning, because they just behave, in my opinion, much better for things like turns and spins. But this is a chiffon style, half circular, so you can see the straight edge on top, and that it rounds out at the bottom. So again, it comes in all different sizes. This is kind of like a two-tone, and then it's edged with the gold, which gives it a really nice look, and it also gives it a nice grip. As the dancer, I like having this here because I can really feel my edge. Where on some veils, your edge is very hard to define. So if you're doing double veil or you're doing some complicated dance moves, you might want to start with a veil like this where you have this thicker edge that's really easy to find and grip if you're dancing, or say, for example, you lose touch with one hand, you can easily find it without having to look down on your veil. And that's another thing to remember as you're working with this video and as you're attempting your veil dancing. You are going to have flub ups. Your veil is going to misbehave. You're going to drop your veil. It's going to get tangled in your costume. It's going to get tangled in your hair. It's all part of the game. And sometimes it can be fun. You just have to be creative and just don't panic. That's kind of the biggest advice I can give. If something goes wrong with the veil, if you can pull it off, make it look like it was part of your show, that's great. And if not, if you don't panic, then the people watching you won't panic. But I have seen dancers actually panic because something went wrong with their veil, and that actually looks worse than just trying to graciously recover from your veil doing something you didn't necessarily want it to use or want it to do. And then here we have one of my favorite styles of the half circular silk veils. Now the silk I just love because it flows so beautifully, and it just looks like flowing water or fire when you're dancing with it. It really catches the light and catches the air. And this one is a veil that I've purchased from a dancer, Anina. She makes a special kind of half circular silk veil with a ribbed edge, which is like the one I was talking about earlier, which makes it really easy to find when you're doing things like double veil or, again, advanced techniques where you need to be able to quickly find that selvage edge or the straight edge, and you don't have the time to be really looking for that. So this is a really nice option. And then again, I have here another half circular silk veil. And this one has more of a selvage edge. It doesn't have the rib on it, but it's still nice. And you can still work with this one. And it's just another pattern, another color option. Maybe you're feeling really colorful on that day. So I am a very proud restaurant and nightclub dancer. So one of the questions is, when do you dance with a veil? You can dance with a veil in almost any venue. You can dance with a veil on a big stage. You can dance with a veil at a private party. You can dance with a veil in a restaurant. You can dance with a veil in a nightclub. There's really no right or wrong time of when you should or should not dance with a veil. There's just a few things you want to think about when you are dancing with your veil. Your veil is a prop. And the best way to show off your prop is to have a very proper body line. So a lot of the times you're holding a very strong body line and pose so that you can really display and show off your veil to the best of its ability. Okay, so posture is key, and we're going to be working on that in a lot of the drills later on in the video. Okay? So, and the veil has really evolved over time. In the last 30 years or so, what people do with the veil and things like double veil have really evolved, so it could even be considered a type of fusion. So, especially when we're talking about fusion, we really have freedom to play and create and to have fun and to not adhere to strict rules about this is the way that it's done. So, as long as you're dancing beautifully and you have a beautiful body line, there's really no wrong that you can do with the veil. Another important thing is music selection. You can dance to slow music. You can dance to fast music. Whatever you do, you just want to match the mood of your music with your veil. So a couple other things we're going to talk about are, how do you hold your veil? And again, there's really no right or wrong way if it works for you. If your veil flows and you feel like you have a good handle of the veil and that you're not like gripping and manhandling the veil, then you're probably doing it in a way that is proper and will work. So what I mean is, when you're working with your veil, you don't want people looking at your hands. You don't want people watching how is she holding the veil. You want the attention to be on the veil itself. So if I'm like holding my veil like this, the first thing you're probably seeing is like, wow, that doesn't look really pretty. So one of my favorite ways to hold the veil, especially when I'm doing single veil, is what I call a pinch. And I'm literally just pinching my first finger and my thumb finger right here on the edge. So you want to kind of find the center of your veil. Now, this can change depending on what it is that you're doing with your veil. But for the most part, if I were to hold my veil across my shoulders, I want it to be centered, and I want it to be taut across the span of my arms. This is about where you want to have a grip on your veil. So you don't want too much slack back here, and you don't want it too tight. So right there in the middle is about perfect width apart for where you're going to hold your veil. And like I said, you can do the pinch. One of my favorites, and I use this one a lot. Another one you can do is the scissors grip. So this one you're actually holding it here like this, in between the middle and the pointer finger, in a scissors hold. And whichever one you use, you just want to make sure that you have a good grip with the veil and that it's not going to slip out of your hands. and that again it looks graceful and pretty, and that the attention is drawn to the movements of the veil and not to the hands holding it. And then one of my other favorite holds is one that you can use, and you can actually play finger cymbals at the same time. So you hold it with the pinky, and you can use this one too if you want a little bit of an extra grip. And you're actually going to hold and clamp the veil down here with the palm of the hands and these fingers. And then that way you have your middle finger and your thumb to play finger cymbals with. So I'll show you that one real quick. I'm going to take the veil in about that spot, and at this point I've worked with veil for so many years that I just automatically know how to find exactly where am I going to hold my veil. But again, if you ever forget, find the center of your veil. Sometimes if you fold it, you'll find the center mark, and then make sure that it's taut across your arm span. So from here, I'm going to take the pinky finger to start, and I'm going to clamp it down. Just your pinky finger is enough to hold it. But if you feel like you want a little extra security, take these two fingers here and clamp it down. Okay, and then I have these two fingers left that I can put on my finger cymbals here. And I can play my finger cymbals, and I can use my veil at the same time, which is really nice for something like a restaurant or a private party. I would never not dance with my finger cymbals in a restaurant. I really love how it can get the attention of the crowd. And then I also have the ability to have a really grand entrance with my veil. So again, that's holding it down with these two fingers here, or just your pinky finger if you feel comfortable with that. And there you are. And then you have your finger cymbals on. So we're also going to be talking about ways of entering and then releasing the veil when we no longer want to use it as we go through some of our drills and our combinations. So I am hoping that you can use some of these techniques and get as creative as you like to be with your veil. We're going to talk about creating moods with our entrances. So we have several different options for how we want to enter, and again, I'm just going to show you a handful of them. You might have some already that you do on your own. And as always, be creative and come up with some different ones that match the mood of your music and what you want to portray on your stage. So two very simple and easy yet very effective ones is one that I call the dynamic diva. You're just going to be entering, so there's nothing that you're doing with your veil other than you're coming straight from off your stage, and you're coming in with a whole lot of energy, and you're just letting your veil do the talking as you make your grand entrance. So a couple ways we can do this. If we're starting from off stage at the right time in your music, you would just enter in, big posture, really showing off that veil. So there's a number of ways you can do that. Taking up your space, claiming your stage, greeting your audience. This is one that I call dynamic diva. Another way that we can work with the dynamic diva is coming in, and one that I call the angel. We'll be working with this one later, but we come in, which is just a really nice way to come in and claim your stage and say hello to your audience. Another easy one, but also very effective for creating a mood, I call it the mysterious. So like we talked about earlier, we want to have our veil taut across the back, centered, and you're just going to cross one forearm over the top of the other forearm and rest it here. And I think this one looks really nice when you're right here underneath the eye level. Another thing you can do is take the hands, place the hands on top of each other, and arch them just enough that they kind of cradle right underneath the eyes. You could also cradle underneath the chin if you wanted to do some head slides. And we're going to be playing with this one in a combination we do in this video, so we'll have more opportunity to work with that. And that again is your mysterious entrance. So you're here, you just fold one forearm over the other and place the level of your veil where you like it, either under the eyes, under the chin. You could start with it higher, bring it lower with the music. And it's very easy to get out of. You just lift and release. You could do a combination of the dynamic diva and the mysterious. You could start in your mysterious wrap, start with a little dancing, pop out of that, and dynamic diva. Great job. Next, we're going to talk about a couple varieties and ways to tuck. So a tuck is nice when you want to really come out and do something like an unveiling. I like, for restaurants, for example, it's nice to come out, you're tucked, your actual veil is covering your costume, so that can be part of your dance set, is dancing around in the veil for a song or two, and that way the big reveal of your costume is still a big surprise and excitement for your audience. Another nice thing about tucks is you can freely play your finger cymbals for a song or two, and then go ahead and take the finger cymbals off and come back out, and voila, you have your veil to dance with. So tucks can be pretty exciting, and they're really, really easy. So the first tuck we're going to do is literally just a hip tuck. It's very simple. You'll probably want to get in front of a mirror to go ahead and measure where exactly it needs to be. So, for example, I'm going to take my veil. Again, it's centered across my body. And I'm just going to grab it, say for me, I think I'm going to start about here, and I'm going to start to bunch and gather the veil. And I'm just going to tuck it about right here in my hip. Not too tightly. I'm just literally going to place it inside gently. You want it in enough that it will hold and that it won't fall out, but you don't want it so tight that you have to struggle to get the veil out later. So again, all these tucks and entrances take a little bit of practice getting used to. You'll probably have to do them several times over and over. And then I'm going to just check and make sure that my veil isn't going to hang too low in the back, that I would step on it, trip on my veil. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to gather, and then I'm going to gently but securely tuck in the other hip. Then I'm going to get in front of the mirror, and I'm going to make sure that for the most part it looks even. You kind of want it to blend in with your costume so that it looks like it's part of it, and later on when you take it off, it's like, wow, that was cool. So now I feel like I look pretty even. This is a nice way that, again, like I mentioned, I can come out and I can be dancing, I can be playing finger cymbals. And then when I want to retrieve my veil, it's pretty simple. Again, there's a variety of ways you could do it. You could pull from the front, and you literally just pull it out in one nice secure swoop. You can also pull from the back. I can just take my hands down here and pull. So you'd probably want to do it a little bit more gracefully than that. I just wanted to show you how it comes out. But again, I'm going to tuck real quickly. And you probably want to do the reveal while you're actually dancing. So I could be dancing around, I'd put my hands back, and voila, next thing you know, your veil is off. So that's the very simple hip tuck. Another one that I like, I call it the Roman wrap. You could also call it a Grecian wrap. We have another one I call the Grecian wrap, but they could be interchangeable. They're from the same costume designs from each era. But this one is similar. I'm going to allow the veil to come across my back at the center point. And then I'm just going to cross one over the other. Doesn't matter which one. And then I'm going to pull here. And then I want to take the edges, the corner ends, and I'm going to tuck them into my bra straps here. And again, I'm going to tuck it very gently. Maybe one time around. I could do it like this. If I wanted a little extra support, I could pull it all the way through. Same thing over here. I'm going to take it, wrap it, tuck it, and this would be just plenty if you're not doing too strenuous of dancing, or if you wanted a little extra, just tuck it around. Same thing, you'll want to get in front of the mirror, adjust it, make sure that it looks even, and that, again, that you don't have too much hanging in the backside. This veil length happens to be just right. This is a circular, half circular veil. If I was using something like a long rectangular veil, I'd probably have to tuck in the back as well to pull up here so that I didn't trip on the back end of the veil. And there you would just tuck it back here. And this one's kind of nice because this one can really cover your costume for a later reveal of all your beautiful diamonds and beads and jewels. So this one is also very simple to get out of. If I'm dancing, you would start, if you're tucked back here, you want to make sure you get this one out while you're dancing, and then you can continue up and just gently pulling, of course, while you're dancing. Another way that I could have done that is if I'm tucked here, I could just pull from the top as well. I could just take it out like this, and then I'm ready to dance. And those are just a few options. Again, you can take the time to come up with some creative ways to tuck and untuck for yourself. We're going to have fun with one more tuck and one of my favorite really exciting wraps. So the next tuck is the one that I call the Grecian. So this one, there's two versions of the Grecian. You can have an easy access one, and then we're going to do the more difficult one that we're actually going to use to get into our wrap that I call the mystical wrap. Okay, so starting with the Grecian, the easy one, we're going to drape it over the shoulder like the ancient Greeks did over one side. And again, you want to get in front of the mirror, make sure that your veil is centered. So if I bring my arm out, for the most part, the veil is centered. You don't want one much longer than the other side. If it's a little bit off, that's okay. But so right here, and notice how I'm now using, in this case, I'm using my left hand to close the veil together here on my left side. You could also switch it for the other side. So this gives the illusion that I'm wrapped on one side. And then I can just pull this taut across my body. So I'm kind of holding fist on my hip here. And then I have all this veil material over here on my right side to play with. I can wrap in the front. I could come in. This could be my entrance. I could be entering in from the side. And then I can open. Another option is I can take it behind. So I'm going to pinch the edge of the veil here just to hold on to it. Try to tuck my fingers in if at all possible. And I'm going to wrap around the back to create a little tent. So this is kind of a mini wrap. So if I look to the front, I want to make sure that I'm nice and covered in. This is a nice way also that I can enter in from the side. So if I'm over here, I could be doing my choo-choo shimmy or my glide. I could be doing some head slides. Or I could just be entering in nice and slow. And as you can see, this one is super easy to get out of. All I have to do is drop my right arm, bring it over, grab the right edge of the veil, and open. Okay, so it's a nice, really nice wrap that is super simple and easy to get out of. So trying that again, I've got one side of the veil, left side of the veil in the left hand. I'm going to bring it together, both edges of the veil together, and I'm going to tuck it also. I'm going to open the thumb, tuck it in there on the left side. Make sure that it's nice and taut. Make sure that it's centered. Pull it over onto the hip so that I have some security there, and I know it's not going to fall off. And then as we talked about, we have this whole extra right side of the veil to play around with. I can wrap in the front. I can wrap in the back. And then all I have to do is release. And of course, everything I do is going to be nice and graceful. And I want to be dancing always. I want to have some movement as I'm coming in and out of these wraps. You never want to just stop on your stage and be wrapping and unwrapping. That takes away the mystery and the allure of your dance. So if this is how I come in, wonderful. This is how I come out. Okay, so that is our easy version of the Grecian wrap. The little bit more complicated version, it's not that hard, it's just a little bit harder to get out of. I'm going to do the same wrap. It's going to come over my right shoulder, and again, I want to use the mirror to make sure that I'm centered. And then I'm going to tuck these two into the same hip. I'm going to tuck the right front into the right front part of my right hip, and I'm going to tuck the back side in to the left back part of my hip. And again, they're gentle tucks. You want it to be in there. You don't want it to fall out, but you don't want it so packed in there that you have a hard time gently pulling the veil out. Now my right arm, again, I want to make sure that when I look into the mirror, that it's centered. Once I have it and I feel that it's nice and centered, I'm just going to tuck the very edge of it into my bra strap as well. Same as all the other ones, just a tiny bit of fabric getting tucked in, enough to secure it, but not so much that I have to struggle to pull it out. And once I'm here, I really have a lot of ability to dance and move, and I don't have to worry too much about it falling out. And I can do the same wraps that I did with the easy version of it. I'm here. I can take it behind. And this takes us right into my absolute favorite wrap that I love to do for the restaurants. It's the one that I call the mystical wrap. I take it behind, and now I'm going to take my left elbow and I'm going to slide it back across my body and back in to catch the remaining fabric of the veil. And then somewhere I want to take my left fingers and just grab it and pinch it so that I have a grip of it so that I can pull it to the front and wrap myself up in a little tent. So again, we might want to look in the mirror and make sure that everything looks nice. But this is how I like to enter for a lot of my restaurant shows. And I could still even have my finger cymbals on here. So I could be playing finger cymbals underneath my tent, and I could be coming out nice and mysterious. And again, I'm dancing. I might be dancing to something nice and slow like a talk theme. They can see the silhouette of my dance. And this one is also really pretty easy to get out of. I just release the left arm and the right arm back to the starting position. And now when I want to actually untuck from the left hip, and of course remember this could be placed on the left arm and you could be tucked in the right hip. I'm just going to do a little dancing. I'm going to take the right arm. It's here. I have a grip of my edge of the front part of my veil. And I'm going to keep pushing as I'm turning. So now it's released from the front part of my hip and my shoulder. It's still tucked in the back, so I could have a little more fun with playing here. I don't have to come out of it completely. I could even wrap here, do the gypsy look. Never be afraid to slow down and have fun on your stage. Then from here, all I have to do is pull out of that left back hip, and you can see how easy it is. Blop, and it's out. And of course, like we talked about, I'm doing all of that while I'm dancing and moving. So that was the Grecian wrap and the mystical wrap. Great job. Starting with our technique, we're going to begin with swoops and figure eights. Okay, so our swoop, a very simple technique, but there's a lot involved with this one to make sure that you get the proper flow with the veil. Okay, so the technique of our swoop here, we're literally swooping, so it looks like this. Swoop, 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 swoop. So it's kind of like an arch. I'm really making an arch here. And notice how I'm really accentuating the up part so that I make the full arch. Up and over. Up, out, down, release. Up, out, down, release. Up, out, down. Up, out, down. Okay, so I'm really making sure that I have proper body posture here. Your veil will not flow the way that you want it to flow if you don't have the proper posture in your body, especially in the arms. Okay, so arms are always nice and strong. I'm always keeping my pelvis tucked. My chest is always going to be really lifted. If I'm collapsed in my posture, my veil will also collapse. So nice and tall. This time with our swoop, we're going to take a little pose. We're just going to touch the same foot out. So if I'm going to swoop on the right, I'm going to touch the right foot. And then I'm going to reposition and balance, touch out on the left, reposition and balance, swoop with the touch, swoop with the touch, and this just helps give me a little bit more space to work with. And it also creates a really beautiful body line to match my beautiful veil work. So pointed toes. Notice how I'm really lifted in my rib cage. I want to be tall because I want my veil to be tall. And I'm not talking about your actual height. Whatever size you are, if you really lift up and out of the rib cage, you'll have better ability to get that veil to really fly and flow. Up, over. Up, over. So notice how I also have to work the opposite hand. As this one goes up, over, to give it the room, I have to bring this guy over. And then I just release it here. Up, over, up, 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 swoop, swoop. Are you getting tired yet? Can you feel how much strength it actually requires out of your arms? The sign of a sure good dancer is if she makes it look easy. So when people look at the veil and they say, oh, that looks easy, I could do that. It's probably because the dancer doing it was doing an amazing job and it was actually more difficult than it really looks. Up, over. Up, over. So let me just show you the difference if you're not actually bringing it all the way up and over. You're going to sell your veil technique short. So I'm not throwing it forward. I'm actually casting it up and over. I'm keeping it right in the plane of the arms in a clock, right here. So I'm actually casting my arm up and over, right at the side. Not forward, not back. Let's try that a couple more times. 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, and swoop, 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 swoop. Walk back. It's a really good workout. So this swooping motion is half of a figure 8. I'm really accentuating the swoop down, and then I'm just kind of releasing through the center. But if I wanted to continue the motion, I would actually be making a figure 8. Back, front, back, front. So you can see my arm is making the shape of a figure 8. Okay, so if we want to really accentuate the figure 8 rather than just the swoop, swoop, bring it back. Now this one's really fun. This one I like to turn into what I call the gypsy skirt. So you could hold it at the back of the head, but I think for the gypsy skirt you get a little bit of a better effect if you actually bring it to the back of you. And you hold it right here. Okay, so your arm is here. Drop it to the back. Now from here, it really looks like one of those big, beautiful gypsy skirts. So we're doing the swoop, but we're actually continuing the motion of the swoop to create the figure 8. Forward, back, forward, back, forward, back, forward, back. Now I like to do that step with a grapevine while you're traveling across the stage, but we'll start with forward, center, back, center. Forward, back, forward, back. And I'm actually going to go in opposition with the veil. So when I step forward, I'm going to take the veil back. When I step back, I'm going to take the veil to the front. And again, that just creates a little more space to work that veil. Now imagine if you were traveling Across the stage. I'm going to show this one to you from the side so you can really see what I'm talking about with that gypsy skirt look. Forward, back. Your footwork forward, back, forward, back. And again, we're in opposition with the veil. And of course, it's always a good idea to try things on both sides. So if we're here, bring the right arm behind you. And now we're going to take the veil, do our full figure 8, creating that beautiful gypsy skirt. And now we're going to go opposition with the footwork. Forward, back. Forward, back. Forward, back. Forward, back. Traveling. From the side. You could do it in quarter turns. Great job. Let's keep working with the swoops and let's try it with some other fun foot patterns. The first one we're going to start with is going to be arabesque. So we're going to take a 3-step arabesque. You're going to cross your opposite foot over to the direction you're traveling. So if I'm traveling right, I'm going to start by crossing my left foot over. 1, 2, 3. If this is your first time working with arabesque or you're not that comfortable with it, you can always just place the foot instead of actually going for your arabesque leg. 1, 2, 3, touch. 1, 2, 3, touch. Right foot, right touch left, change left foot, left touch right. So it's on the touch that we're going to do the swoop. So let's try that again. Starting crossing over with the left, and we'll be slightly walking forward. 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, touch with the swoop. Right foot, right touch swoop. 1, 2, 3, touch swoop. 5, 6, 7, touch swoop. 1, 2, 3, swoop. 5, 6, 7, swoop. Now, if you wanted, you could actually try the arabesque leg. It doesn't have to be a high kick. So let's just go over that. 1, 2, 3. So from here, instead of just placing the foot, I'm going to do a little arabesque kick. Okay, so the most important thing on that arabesque is that you actually turn the body with the kick. One common mistake that I see with the arabesque a lot is the 1, 2, 3, and I just kind of see the leg kick out like this. That's not actually what it is. You want to have the foot pointed under, and you want to match it with the body. So my body is actually going to show the direction, which is on the angle here. And of course, from here, I don't want to have the leg opened up. I want to have it down, but I still want to have a turnout with the foot and a pointed toe. So in this scenario, it's always best to keep it a little lower to the ground. So just practice that angle a couple times with the body. Let's try it here. If I were posed and I just did my arabesque, the actual pose with the body is here. My chest is lined on that diagonal and my leg matches. So my socket of my hip actually is down. I don't want to have it opened and turned out. Okay, it's a really bad body line that we don't want to show on the stage. So keep it down. And one thing that helps us with that is having that toe touching the ground. And when we get comfortable with that, then we can do a little bit more of a lift. And I also want to have a slight plie in my standing leg. Okay, try it here. Really matching up the body line, the leg, the hip joint with the chest. Here. And once you start to get comfortable with that, you can take the kick a little higher if you like. So you have to scooch around, pivot around on that standing foot just a little bit when you go for the arabesque. So let's try that again. We'll do the 3-step. 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, arabesque. 5, 6, 7, arabesque. 1, 2. Notice how I turn on that standing leg, and I'm using my kicking leg for the momentum to do that. 1, 2, 3, turn. 5, 6, 7, turn. 1. Remember to keep that hip joint down so that it's here. Take a look at yourself in the mirror. Make sure you're not here. 1, 2, 3, turn. And again, you always have the option of just doing the touch, and you don't have to worry at all about that technique of the arabesque. You can just do the touch. And another really fun one that I like doing a lot is passe, because you can get a little bit more spring to help you get that veil up in the air just a little bit. So if we want to do the passe, passe just means I'm going to bring the leg up. Okay, you can do a low passe, or you can do a little bit higher, depending on your energy level and your ability. Okay, the most important thing, again, I want to keep my foot pointed, and I want to keep it right closed in at my knee or my calf or my ankle, wherever I decide to go. Okay, so you're not out here. You don't want to have what I call dead fish foot syndrome, flopping fish. It's really a bad visual, and it doesn't look nice on the stage. So right here. So let's just mark that. 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, passe. I'm still scooching around, pivoting around on that standing balanced leg. 1, 2, 3, passe. 1, 2, 3, passe. 1, 2, 3, passe. And then if I want to get a little extra hop in there, as I was mentioning about, on the passe, I can also come up on releve on the standing leg, passe. And what that does, we're going to work on this in our turning section, but coming up on the tippy toe lowers the surface area so that your turn actually becomes easier, and it also looks better. When you have a whole foot on the floor and it turns, the eye automatically goes right to that large surface area. If I'm on my releve and I turn, it's a smaller surface area, and I don't see as much of the foot. So let's go ahead and try all 3 of those variations. So the first variation is just touching, no arabesque. The second variation is the arabesque. You can do a very low or high kick. And the third variation is passe. And we're going to put a swoop on all 3 of those. 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, swoop, touch. 5, 6, 7, swoop, touch. 1, 2, 3, swoop, touch. Last one. Go arabesque. 1, 2, 3, arabesque. 5, 6, 7, arabesque. Keep that hip joint turned down. Arabesque. Last one. Change, passe. 1, 2, 3, passe. 5, 6, 7, passe. 1, 2, 3, passe. 5, 6, 7, passe. And of course, dancing is always much more fun to the music. Let's try that with music. So we have a little bit of a faster tempo here. We're going to do exactly what we just did. We're going to cycle through 4 times each of those 3 variations. 5, 6, 7, and 1, 2, 3, touch. 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 Change, arabesque. 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 Change, passe. Very good job. So as you can see, we have a lot of variety of movements we can do with such a simple move like the swoop. And we're not done. We have a few more. We're going to practice some basic turns with the swoop. The first one we're going to do is 3-step turn. So let's break that down. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's 3 steps, and we're going to be turning with it. So we'll start turning to the right. 1, 2, 3. And you usually finish with a little touch. And we're going to really use that touch to work that swoop. Left, 2, 3, pose. Right, 2, 3, pose. Left, 2, 3, pose. So remember that pose, that body line really helps us elongate and create the space for that beautiful veil movement. So as you can see, this gives me more space to work with than this, because I can really arch over and work from that angle. So don't forget how important your posture is and that body line. Your veil just is displayed 1,000 times better when your posture and your body line is proper than when it's not. And you also may be getting tired by this point. Definitely the veil is very, very energetic, and don't be hard on yourself if you're feeling like, wow, this is tiring, I should be in better shape than this, because I'm definitely sweating and getting a great workout as well. So you'll build up your stamina the more you work with the veil. The good rule of thumb is the harder that it feels, the better your veil is probably going to look. So let's go ahead and work with that 3-step turn, and let's add the swoop on. So we'll actually start with a swoop. We'll go swoop with our pose, and that's going to set us up. Now we know we're traveling right. Step, 2, 3, swoop, left, 2, 3, swoop, right, 2, 3, swoop, left, 2, 3, swoop. And on your 3-step turns, you can spot to the side or you can spot to the front. 1, 2, 3. We'll be talking about spotting and the proper technique of turning in the next section. Swoop, 1, 2, 3, swoop. So in addition to our 3-step, which is nice because it takes up a little space, if you have a big stage, you sometimes want to try to use more space. If you're in a small area, a restaurant or a private party, then you could do something like an in-place turn. So if we marked our in-place turn with just the footwork, we'll start with the swoop again to mark it. We're going to swoop, step, step, step. So it's exactly the same footwork as the 3-step turn. We're just keeping it right in place instead of traveling side to side. Same thing, swoop, step, step, step. Spot yourself in the mirror. If you don't know what spotting is yet, that's okay. Try to see what you think it is. Go ahead and try to give spotting a try. See if it comes natural for you. Step, step, step. Swoop, step, step, step. Let's try that with our veil. 7, 8, we have swoop. Step, 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 swoop, step, 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 swoop. Turn to the right, swoop. Turn to the left, and swoop, turn to the right. Let's try that with the music again, both the 3-step turning side to side and in place. We'll start on the right. 5, 6, 7, and 1, 2, 3, swoop. 5, 6, 7, swoop. It's fast. If you need to focus on just the footwork of the turn, you can do that for now. Add the veil later. Turn, swoop, step, turn, swoop, step, turn. Now try to cover a little more distance. Really try to travel to the side. And let's try that same thing in place. So remember, it's the same foot pattern, same footwork. The swoop, step, 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 but we're going to stay right in place instead of traveling side to side. 5, 6, 5, 6. Here we go. Swoop, step, step, swoop, step, 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 swoop, step, step, swoop, and turn. 2, 3, 4, swoop, 6, 7, 8, swoop, 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 swoop. Last one. Great job. So the next technique that we're going to work with is going to be spirals. So it's another type of figure 8. We have a whole bunch of different varieties of figure 8s that we can do to give us some really pretty veil techniques. So this one, you could call it a spiral or a corkscrew, or again, like I said, it's another type of figure 8. So we're going to start on the right. So I'm going to take my right arm down, and as the right arm goes down, the left arm follows over the head. They both come down together. Right arm leads up, left arm follows. So the left arm is trailing the right arm. So I go right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. In front of the body, behind. In front, behind. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's also really important to pay attention when you're doing your veil that you're never like thrashing or whipping your veil. You never want to look frantic or like you're trying to struggle with throwing the veil. It doesn't need that much effort. And again, you want the veil to flow beautifully, gliding on the air. So if we're at all ever whipping the veil, it just doesn't look as nice, and you're probably putting twice as much effort than is necessary. So really pay attention as you're doing your veil that you're calm, cool, and collected. You're strong, and your posture is strong, but that you're graciously moving through your moves versus frantically rushing through them. And the nice thing about the veil, as you'll see as we go through some of our combos, you can make choreography, but you have to allow that sometimes your veil is not going to work for you and your veil is not going to follow the counts exactly. So if you lag behind a few counts with the veil, that's okay, because that's the kind of prop that it is. It flows, it's soft and sensuous. So if it's not exactly on the counts, it doesn't matter because it looks really good when it actually is kind of lagging behind a little bit and doing its thing. So spiraling, let's try it the other direction. Down and around, down and around. Notice my body posture. A common thing I see on this one is that when the arms come in front, I see people collapse their body like this, which again, that's breaking the body line. And notice how my veil shrinks, my veil shrivels. That is not what we want with the veil. We don't want our veil sweeping the floor. We want our veil in the air at all times. So even though I'm bringing it down in front of the body, I'm keeping it up in the air. Okay, so don't break your posture. It's like we talked about before in other videos where we want to keep, say for example, we're doing pelvic circle drop. My body is changing its level, but my posture remains. So it's the same thing here. We're going to do a pelvic circle drop with this move. I can change my level, but did my veil sweep the floor? No, it didn't, because I held my posture. So another really important thing to keep in mind there. So let's go ahead and try that now. Let's add the pelvic circle drop. So all we're doing is squatting down, plie down. So if I show you from the side, I'm going to keep my shoulders exactly where they are. The only thing that's changing is my knees. So I'm going to softly bend the knees, and I'm pushing my booty back. So it's exactly the same move as a squat if you were working out in the gym. So it's got a double value here. You're actually going to get a nice workout. Push back. So you can take this as deep or as shallow as you prefer, based again on your comfort level and what you like, what looks good on your body. So you can go really deep, or you can just do a little one. So we're going to practice that with the spiral. So we'll do one in place, and then on the second one, we're going to do the plie. One in place, plie. One in place, plie. And one in place, plie. So now if you want to add the hip circle on there, give it the belly dance flavor, really push it around. So as we go down, take it around. Doesn't matter the direction. I'm probably going to go this way because that makes most sense for the direction of the veil as well. 7, 8, we'll do one in place, bring it around. One in place, bring it around. One in place, bring it around. Last time, one in place, bring it around. Let's try the same thing on the left. So this time, left arm leads, right arm follows. Left leads, right arm follows. Left arm leads, right arm follows. Same thing we'll put that plie in there. One in place, plie. One in place, plie. One in place, plie. And one in place, plie. And the other nice thing we can do here with our veils, we can do the spiral and we can turn. So let's go ahead and start with the left. We'll go one in place. This time we're going to turn with it. And we're going to do that again. One in place. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Doesn't really matter what foot you start on for your turn. You're just going to turn around yourself to the right, following the direction of the veil. So we have in place, turn, 2, 3, and in place, and turn, 2, 3, 4, in place, and turn, 2, 3, 4, in place, and turn, 2, 3, 4. And let's try the same thing going the other direction. So we're going to be turning to our left this time. Your left foot can lead. If you do your turn, your left foot can lead this way, or your right foot can lead. You're just going to cross over. Both are perfectly fine. It's up to you what you're comfortable with. So let's try that. Turning to our left, right arm leads on the spiral. 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, turn 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, turn 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, turn 6, 7. We can also do this with 3-step turns like we did earlier. We can go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a fun way to end that, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we can go the other direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Turning to your right, spiraling the same direction, pelvic circle drop. Turning left with the spiral, pelvic circle drop. Again, turning right with the spiral, or without. You could save the spiral for the pelvic circle drop. Turn, pelvic circle drop. Let's try it just doing the spiral on the drop this time. So nothing on the veil while you're turning, and here. And let's go ahead and try those with some music. We'll pick a slower tempo for this one. So we'll just do the spirals right here in place. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Add the pelvic circle drop. Drop, and in place, and drop, and in place. Now instead of doing the in place, after your drop, turn to your left. Turn, drop, turn, drop, turn, last one, drop, turn. And of course we got to do it to both directions. 5, 6, 7. Drop, turn, drop, turn, drop, turn, drop, turn. Last one, drop, turn. 3-step turn, going right and left. Let's do the first one without the spiral and save it for the pelvic circle drop. And we're going to wait for that music to kick in. 5, 6, here we go. Pelvic circle drop, other way. Notice how I lost my veil there. As I mentioned, that'll happen. Can't panic. Just got to know it's the nature of veil dancing. And then I was off beat for a second, but I got right back on. You probably didn't even notice it. So that's what I mean about the veil doesn't have to be right on the count. Now add the spiral on the turn. One more time to the right. Great job. Let's take all that fabulous veil technique we just learned and put it into our first combination, as well as learning a few new tricks. So we're going to start with that mysterious wrap that we did earlier. So right here, veil is taut against the back. We're going to stack the right arm over the left, or the right forearm over the left forearm. From here, you're going to be facing your audience, and you're going to be covered in your veil, because from here, we're actually just going to lift up, and I'm going to keep my right arm stacked on top of the left, or my right hand stacked on top of the left. And I'm going to come inside my little tent here. And we're going to hold for the first 4 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4. On 5, 6, 7, 8, I'm going to begin to bring the arms down into the mysterious pose, right underneath the eyes. From here, on the next measure of 8 counts, we're going to start stepping with the right foot. We're going to go slow, slow, quick, quick pose. So slow, slow, step, step, and on the pose, you're going to spring out and open up on the count of 8. Okay, so trying that, we're up here. 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, slow, slow, step, step, open. From here, you're going to do a swoop on the right. So you're going to go swoop, and here's our new trick. You're going to swoop around. We're going to do the turn like we did earlier. Step, 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 pose. As you pose, you're going to continue the arm, the right arm back. Bring it all the way around. It has to clear your elbow here. Comes in the front and over the head for a wrap. So we're actually going to be re-wrapping ourselves. So again, let's see how that works. If I just came out of my turn, so I came from the momentum here, I'm going to continue the right arm around, get it all the way around the body, wrap and pose. And that happens pretty fast. So you got to be quick about that one. So from the swoop, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so your footwork on that. Pose, step, 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 pose. Pose, step, 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 pose. Bringing this guy around. Let's try that with the veil. 7, 8, swoop. Step, 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 pose. Bring the veil around, wrap. All in 8 counts. So let's try to add that on. Getting back into our mysterious pose. We bring it up. And 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4. Bring it down. 6, 7, 8. Step and step and step. Step, open and swoop. 2, 3, and 4. And bring it around and pose. Very good. From here, we're going to release the veil. So we were here like this. All you do, right arm comes up, left arm releases forward, veil is right in front of you. We're going to bring it back. 1, 2. From here, we're going to spiral. 3, 4, 5, 6. Bring it to the front and pose 7, 8. So again, we were in our wrap. From the wrap, you're going to release in front. Sorry. So from the wrap, you're going to release in front. The counts are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So let's get back into the wrap so we can try that. So we'll take it from the swoop, turning to our right, taking it into our wrap. 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and bring it around. 7, 8. From here, release. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Bring it around. 5, 6, 7, 8. And then you also want to try to get the veil to the front because we're going to do the gypsy skirt next. So getting it around if you can. Let's try that again from the swoop. 7, 8, swoop, and 3 and 4. Bring it around. 7, 8. And notice my little pose here. I'm just taking a pose, extending the left leg out into the back and dropping the head back just a little bit. Release, bring it back, spiral around, 7, 8. So this is where you should be on 8. Now, if you remember the gypsy skirt, if you prefer, you can bring the hand here if that's easier. The other thing we can do is as we come around for here, you can actually drop the left arm down. And if you remember from the earlier section, this is going to give us a more dramatic gypsy skirt effect. Okay, so we just came out of the spiral, dropped it here in our next measure of 8. We actually swung the veil around on the count of 8, and now we're going to start that gypsy skirt going back on the count of 1. And we're going to use that same footwork, forward, center, back, center, or grapevine, which is forward, back. And so if you remember, it's an opposition. Foot goes forward, veil goes back. Forward, back. So we do that for 8 counts. So we're here, 7, 8, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You're going to turn around to your right, and you're going to repeat and do it again. As the veil comes back, step forward, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we're going to spin out of it, 7, 8. So I'm doing another spiral from the back side. So let's mark that one more time. We're here in the gypsy skirt, ready to go. I'm going to step forward, and I'm in position so that my veil naturally is going to go back first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, turn, 1. So here I am, my foot just crossed over as my veil went back on 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. From here, continue it around and step and bring it around to the front. 6, 7, 8. Okay, so let's add that on from the swoop and the wrap, and then we'll also try it from the beginning again. 7, 8, it's 1, 2, 3, and 4, wrap. 6, 7, 8. Remember from here, we release 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Left arm either comes to the back or can come to your head. 7, 8. Get that veil just in front because that's going to cue you to go back instead of forward. 7, 8, and 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, turn it, 1, 2, 3, turn, 6, 7, 8. Now let's try that from the beginning. So we're here, we're in our wrap, we're going to take it up. 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, down. 6, 7, 8, step, 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 open, and swoop, and turn, and begin your wrap, bring it around, release. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, and 5, 6, 7, 8, turn, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. From here, you're going to toss the veil back, let it drop nice and slow for 8 counts, and you're just going to play with the music here. There was some shoulder rolls. I heard a little shimmy in the music. So you have a full 8 counts. You just came around on 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And from here, if you remember the 3-step turn, we're going to 3-step turn to our left, and we're going to add the spiral with the pelvic circle drop. And then we're going to 3-step turn to our right, and we're going to do the spiral with the pelvic circle drop there as well. And at the end of that, we're actually going to release the veil. So we're going to just let the veil float right out of our arms. So we're going to be talking about some different ways to release the veil when you're done using it. So starting at our 3-step turn to the left, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. Notice how I'm really over dramatically turning here so that I can get ready to go to the other side. And that's the other nice thing with the veil, is you can really move and flow with your veil. So if you're feeling that and you're comfortable with that, let that flow too. 7, 8, it's 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, and here I'm going to turn 7, 8, and as I come around, I'm going to drop the veil out of my hands. Let's try that turn a couple more times before we practice releasing the veil. So going to the left, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, turn, release. So I'm right here, and that's where I'm going to release the veil because I want it to drop behind me. And then I'm going to continue dancing for another 8 counts after that so that the audience knows that I meant to do it and that it wasn't an accident. Okay, so let's put all that together. This time when you come out of that turn, let me show you what it's going to look like. 5, 6, 7, turn. I'm going to turn around, release the veil, and continue dancing. So as you noticed, I literally just let the veil float right out of my hands. Let's try that one more time, marking it with counts. Fold, bring it up. 5, 6, 7, 8, we hold. 2, 3, 4, bring it down. And step, 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 open, swoop, and turn. Take the wrap, release, toss it back around. Get into that veil pose, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and back, and front, back, spiral out. 8 counts, freestyle. 5, 6, 7, turn. 1, 2, 3, pelvic circle, drop, other way. 1, 2, 3, pelvic circle, drop, turn, out, release, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Very nice. Let's try that with the music. If you want to take your veil dancing to the next level, you're going to have to master the art of spinning and turning. So we're going to start working on some techniques. If you're already a proficient turner, then you might want to go ahead and fast forward to some of the next sections where we're actually working with the veil. Otherwise, stick with me for a few minutes so that I can break down the techniques of turning. Turning is something that you definitely have to practice a lot to go ahead and really get it into your body. Some people have to struggle with getting dizzy, things like that, spotting. There's a whole lot involved with doing clean, proficient turns. So we're going to start right here in place. If you remember our 3-step turns, we're going to continue working with that because the 3-step turn is actually the basis, the start of what we're going to be working on first, which is our chaîné turn. A chaîné turn means chain, so it's like linking the chains together. If you think of the little loops of a chain, your turn just keeps adding one more link to that chain. So for example, if we're going to turn to our right, we're going to start just like this. So you're going to start with the right foot and you're doing a series of half turns. And half turn, and half turn, and half turn, and half turn. Of course, you're going to take that up to speed, but that's the very basic breakdown of what you're doing. You're doing a series of half turns. And then again, like we talked about earlier, you want to lower the surface area of your feet. So always coming up on releve is a very good idea when you're starting to do your spins and turns, especially when you're going faster. And then the next part, what we want to do, when we do these half turns, instead of actually stepping like this, you're going to want to start to cross over. So this time, let's think about when we go for that half turn step, we step out, and then we're going to actually cross over. Use those thigh muscles, squeeze those thigh muscles together to squeeze and turn out of it, placing that weight on the second footstep, or the left foot in this case, to release the right to be able to take that step again. So I'm going to cross over, squeeze out, step. Cross over, squeeze out, step. Okay, so now we just made our steps smaller, which is going to look prettier, and it's going to help us turn faster. So the third piece we're going to add to the puzzle is spotting. So a spot, you just want to keep your eye focused in one direction, in one area, your head. Your body is going to follow your head. Unlike the thought that maybe our head follows our body, when we're spotting, the body has to follow where the head and the eyes are going. So find a place that you can lock onto with the eyes. As you take your first step, you're going to keep your eyes locked into that position. As I cross over, I'm going to keep my eyes locked in that position. As I start to squeeze and turn, I'm going to keep my eyes locked into that position until I can't anymore. And at the point that I can't hold it anymore, I'm going to whip my head around first. And from here, if I find that spot again, what happens is my body will naturally spin out right where I want it to go. Okay, so let's try that again. I'm locked onto my spot as I step. I cross, squeeze out of my turn till I can't anymore, whip the head around to take my next step, squeeze out of it, whip my head around, step, squeeze and turn, whip my head around. Of course, it's really hard to do when you're going really slow, so at your own pace, you can pause the video and practice these turns at different speeds as well. Get some music with different tempos and practice. It's kind of like being a kid with turns. If you haven't worked with turns very much before, you kind of have to just go for it. It can be a little bit scary, but you just have to play with it and learn the techniques through trial and error. So let's try that spot again. So remember, we're putting those two new techniques together. We're going to cross the leg and squeeze out of it, and we're going to hold our spot. Holding the spot is very, very important because it not only is proper technique and looks better, but it's going to prevent you from getting really super dizzy. So we're going to step, we're going to get our spot, cross, turn, whip the head, step, cross, turn, whip the head, step, cross, turn, whip the head, step, cross, turn, whip the head. Now let's try that to the left. So here, we're going to start by marking our turn with the left foot step. So I'm going to step left, I got my spot, cross over right, squeeze out. Left, cross right, squeeze out. Lock onto that spot. So you'll naturally find if you're a right side turner or a left side turner, most people usually prefer one direction, although it is a good idea to try to train yourself in both directions. I actually turn better to my right. I don't get as dizzy. If I turn to my left, I can do it, but for some reason I tend to get more dizzy in that direction. So if you find that happens to you, you're not uncommon. So once again, let's try that on the left. I'm going to step, find my spot, cross and squeeze out. Step, cross, squeeze out. Step, cross, squeeze out. Step, cross, squeeze out. Now a couple more pointers about the body posture. So you really want to make sure you keep your pelvis tucked under when you're doing your spins. Because here's what happens. When we start to spin, if we're untucked at all, this is going to throw our body center off. So if I'm turning, and I can show you, if I start to do my turns and I'm like this is just going to throw me off my axis. And not only that, it hurts. So I like to tell my students to almost think of being a bodybuilder. Here's your pose here. And if you think of ballet, if you've taken ballet or jazz, that's one of the things they teach you in turning, is they really teach you to kind of collapse and tighten everything into your core. The arms come forward right here to really hold everything into your center of gravity so that you can execute those turns. So we don't have to hold this. We're not ballerinas. We're belly dancers, but we definitely want to take those pointers of really pulling everything in. We don't necessarily need to collapse our chest down, but we do want to pull in, pelvis tucked under, and then whether we're going to beat the arms or open, whatever we're doing with the arms, we want to think of keeping them in the front. We never want to hyperextend them back like this because that's going to throw us off our balance once again. So Let's go ahead and take the arms this time and just hold them in front. We'll do a right turn and then we'll do a left turn. And we're going to really focus on keeping everything pulled in. You can really squeeze the glute muscles. And we can also have a soft bend in the knees. You don't want to be really bent. You shouldn't have to change your level like this as you're turning. You should be able to think of balancing something on your head and holding your level steady. Okay, so tucked, putting all those elements together now. We're going to cross the legs and squeeze to turn out of it. We're going to spot, and we're really going to practice on keeping that posture together. The arms, we can just hold here, and then we'll slightly pulse open as we're moving. Okay, and that's just going to give us a little bit of the momentum we need to turn. 7, 8, we have pulse, turn, spot, spot, spot. Okay, that was the right side. Let's try the same thing with the left. 7, 8, cross, make sure to hold the spot. Okay, so of course in this video I don't have all the space that you might have in your home or a dance studio to really travel the floor, but that's what you're going to need to do on your own to really get good at these chaîné turns. So go ahead and keep practicing with those. If you really focus on the techniques that I just taught you, you should be able to get those chaîné turns eventually. And please do remember, like I said, they do take some people a lot of time. And when you come back to this section of the video, bring your veil and we're going to practice some of those turns with the veil. So now let's take those chaîné turns up to speed, and we're also going to add our veil. So I mentioned earlier that I like using the half circular silk veils, especially when I'm doing turns. The circled edge kind of has a nice aerodynamic to it as well as the silk. So you might want to play around with some of the different veils for you, but I'm definitely a big fan of this veil right here when it comes to turning. So we're just going to hold the veil right here for our spins, and we're going to keep working with those chaîné turns. And this time we're going to mark it every 8 counts. Here's what we're going to do when we start our right turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, step right, 7, touch 8. And this is going to set us up so that we can go right back the other direction with the left foot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so our arms are just out with the veil. We're going to get some music, and this is just a fun drill that you can then take at home or in a larger studio and practice really traveling as far as you can with your chaîné turns and continuing on for more than 8 counts. It's always a good idea to practice your chaîné turns for about as long as you can until you just feel too dizzy. And then always alternating your directions will definitely help with the dizziness issue. So let's go ahead and try that with some music. 5, 6, here we go, right? 7, 8, left. And right. And left. And right. And left. Are you spotting? So don't forget to spot as you're going. Make sure that you find your spot right there on the right, and then you're going to keep locking onto that spot. And then when you come back left, when you're here in your pose, and you go for that first turn, find your spot and lock onto it. And if it's not a perfect turn or you don't feel good about it yet, that's fine. You just got to keep practicing. Let's try that again. 5, 6, 5, 6, here we go. Left. And right. And left. Good job. Dancing with your veil, you always want to make sure that you think of and try to come up with the ways that best display your veil and make it flow and look the prettiest. So whenever we're doing our chaînés or turns, one thing that I like to do is actually fold the veil over the shoulder like this. And what that does is it just creates a little bit more of a aerodynamic look, and it makes the veil, it displays the veil better in the turn. Whereas when I'm here, the veil kind of flows off my body, whereas here, it kind of stays right with my arms and looks like they're attached to my arms and just looks prettier when I'm turning. So we're going to take the chaîné. We're actually going to cut it down in half. We did the 8 count over here. So if we go back to the 4 count, that brings us right back into our 3-step turn, which is technically still a chaîné. It's just we're doing 1.5. So whenever you do the fold, the best way that I like to do the fold is the opposite arm of which way I'm turning. So if I'm going to turn to my right, I'm actually going to fold the veil over the left. And what that does is it makes the wind push right against this arm here, and it really keeps that veil right here attached to my arm. So once again, if I'm going to turn to my right, I'm going to fold the veil here, and you really want to have it taut against the back again so that this fold sits right in the crease of your shoulder and your neck area. So I can show you what I'm talking about. As I turn, you can see that the veil is pressing into my arm. And same thing here, I'm going to switch, fold it over the right side when I turn to the left. And again, you can see that the air is pressing it right into my arm. And it just gives it a little bit of a nicer effect than when you just hold your veil out to the side here. So let's go ahead and try that. Let's mark it a couple times first, and then we'll try that with the music. So if I'm going to start my turn to the right, I'm going to fold over the left shoulder. And let's hold those arms up in a nice high V. Really show off that veil. 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to switch. So you're going to do your switch at the same time. So if I was here, I'm going to release this one off like that. And I'm going to release, and I'm going to throw this one, toss it on. So the hard part about that is doing that at the same time. And we're actually going to do that in one of the following sections. And this is a very basic version of it. So go ahead and fold over the left. And now at the same time that you toss this one off, you're going to toss the right side on. Switch. And again, switch. And again, switch. And again, switch. Okay, so let's go ahead and try that. We're set up here to start our turn to the right. 1, 2, 3, switch on 4. 1, 2, 3, switch. 1, 2, 3, switch. 1, 2, 3. So that time my veil fell off. And like I said, you just got to be patient because those things will and do happen. So let's go ahead and try that with the music. It's going to be pretty fast, so we'll mark it just with the turn a couple times before adding the veil. We'll just hold the veil here to the side. 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, switch. 5, 6, 7, switch. 1, 2, 3, switch. Switch. Now let's go ahead and try that switch without the turn, just so we get a feel for both of those. It's 1, 2, 3, switch. 1, 2, 3, switch. 1, 2, 3, switch. 1, 2, 3, switch. And really make sure that you get that first one in there nice and good. And if the veil's not centered across your back, you're going to have a hard time with the switch getting it to be even each time. On 5, 6, 5, 6, here we go. 1, 2, 3, switch. 1, 2, 3, switch. 1, 2, 3, switch. 1, 2, 3, switch. And again, that one got a little tricky at the end. Let's try one more time. Are you ready? On 5, 6, 5, 6, here we go. 1, 2, 3, switch. 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 So again, I recommend that you find some music at your home that has a tempo that you're comfortable practicing that turn and that switch. And you can also go to the dynamic veil tricks and really practice this move here. Great job. And now for the moment you've probably been waiting for, barrel turns. Barrel turns are definitely one of the most exciting things that you can do with a veil, especially double veils, but it still looks really cool and really beautiful with a single veil. So we're going to start with breaking down the technique of how exactly do we do a barrel turn. And the footwork is pretty easy. you're just going to be turning around yourself. So here again, there's no real technique to it. It has to be exactly like this, but I'm going to show you the way that I like to do it. I'm going to come up on releve, and we're going to be going full time, so we're going to be going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and we want to think of landing our front every other count. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7. Yeah, so those footsteps are just 1 and 2 and 3. So you want to get back around by 3. So again, we're going to really use the technique of spotting to make sure that I get my head to snap around so that my body faces the front every other count. So let's try that again. We're going to start by turning to our right. And just a general rule of thumb, if you're going to turn to your right, you probably want to start with your right foot so that you can get around faster. 7, 8, it's 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8. So notice how I really used the spot there to help me get around and to keep me on the time. And the feet again are just alternating. Right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. This is a really efficient way to turn. I use it all the time. And if you remember what we talked about earlier is if we can get up on those tippy toes, you're going to have the ability to turn faster because you have less surface area and it's actually easier to turn this way. If you try this flat foot, you're going to have a little harder time. Maybe at first it'll feel easier because you're working with the flat foot for balance. But as you start to try to go faster, your feet will actually get in the way. And as I mentioned before, it's much more distracting for your audience to see the entire foot down versus if we just see the balls of the feet. So let's try that same thing turning to the left. So I'm going to start with the left foot. We're going to do the same counts coming around every other count. 7, 8, it's 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8, and turn to the front, 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 front. Let's try that again. So same exact thing that we did to the right. 7, 8, it's 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8, and. So go ahead and take as much time as you need to practice that turn. What you're really shooting for here is that you can actually hold and stick with your spot. So if you're working right here, this is where I want to try to stay. You want to try to avoid being all over the place when you're doing that, unless you're actually intending to. One of the fun things that we can do with the chaîné turn is we can make shapes and we can travel side to side. We can actually travel in a circle. You can really travel all over your stage. This turn that we're doing right here is really meant more for staying right here in your spot, but you can also travel with it too. But for now, we really want to try to stay right here in our slot, because when we get that veil on and we start to do those barrel turns, it's going to look much cooler if we can land it and nail it right here in our spot. So now talking about the arms for the barrel turn. So our arms, once again, we have to envision that we're inside a clock. And our arms are actually the arms of the clock. So that means our arms cannot come forward or back this way. They have to stay right in this plane of the clock, right here. And we're actually going to use the numbers 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock to help guide our arms as we're turning. So another misconception about the barrel turn is that we have to dip down. A lot of times my students, when they try to imitate the barrel turn without actually knowing what they're doing, they kind of go like this. You don't have to do that at all. That's not necessary. That could be a stylistic choice if you chose to do that and if you were already good at turning and you wanted to. But as you can see, I can do my barrel turn right here while keeping my body completely upright. And in fact, that's more than likely probably the way you want to do it unless you're already an advanced turner. Okay, so let's work on that. We're going to do the same thing with the feet. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and we're just going to slow it down so that we can really focus on the technique of the arms. And as we're turning, we'll start by turning to our right. So we're going to think of the right arm leading. So the right arm is going to take us to 12 o'clock and then back down to 6 o'clock. So the other thing you have to think about while you're doing your barrel turns is your arms are in tandem. Your arms cannot move separately. They move together as a unit. So you can also think of holding a broomstick across the span of your arms here. But if my right arm goes up, in the very same exact level, my left arm is going to go down. They both come back to the sides together and here. Okay, so they move in tandem as one solid unit. And if you can get that down, you'll really have a beautiful barrel turn. And your veil will flow really nicely. But as soon as the arms start moving in different ways and not working together as a team, you're going to lose the effect of the barrel turn. So as we turn to our right, let's lead with the right arm. 7, 8, we're going to take it to 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock as we come back to the front. So the arms are actually going one up, one down, both at the sides, one up, one down, both at the sides. One up, one down, both at the sides, one up, one down, both at the sides. 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock. Try again. 7, 8, it's 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock. I'm still spotting. And 6 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock. Okay, so notice how my arms, they stayed in tandem, and also notice how I stayed inside my clock. So one of the biggest problems that I see with the barrel turns is that people who are just new to this move, they start to move their arms all around like this, and they start going outside of the clock. So one thing you can do to help also is you could put some tape down on the floor. If I had a line here on the floor, I would make it my goal that my arms were always in perfect line with that line marker on the floor. And I would try to keep my feet on that piece of tape or whatever it was on the floor that I had marking it. So let's try the same thing turning to the left. So you're just going to be leading with the left arm this time, 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock. 7, 8, 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock. Lots of stuff to remember here. You're spotting. You want to keep that posture that we talked about on our chaîné turns. You want to stay inside the clock. 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock. And let's try that one more time. We're going to get that music at that faster tempo again so that we can really go nice and fast, practice those barrel turns. So remember 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock. Stay inside the face of your clock. Let's start just with the turn. Turning to the right. 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so there's our speed. Now let's add the arms. 5, 6, here we go. 12, 6, 12, 6. Let's try it the other direction. 5, 6, 5, 6, here we go. Up, down, up, down. 5, 6, 7, 8. Very good job. Make sure that you take your time with that one. Practice as much as you can so you really feel like you have a good handle on that before adding the veil. So we can take our veil and we can add it to the exact barrel turn technique that we just did. So with our veil in our home position, which is centered across our back here and our taut across our shoulders, we'll hold it right here as we execute those barrel turns with the proper technique. So if we take it to the right, up and down. 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock. And doing the same thing to the left. 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock. So remember, nothing changes here. It's the same technique that we just worked on. All we did was add a veil. So don't let that confuse you. Just do exactly what we just did. And if you have to go back and drop the veil and practice your barrel turn without it, that's perfectly fine. Let's try with the music. 5, 6, turning to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And regroup and try that same thing to the left. Good job. We can also do that same thing and turning it into a one-armed barrel turn. So nothing really changes except for the fact that I'm going to take one arm. For example, if I'm going to lead my barrel turn with the right arm, then I'm going to take the left arm to the back of the head and rest it here. And my right arm is going to do all the work. And I'm going to switch that for when I lead with the left arm. So my left arm is going to lead as I turn to the right. And as I turn to the left, it's going to be my right arm leading. So let's go ahead and try that turning to the left and just see how this time we're going to go 6 o'clock, 12 o'clock because we're missing the other hand. So we're going to go 6 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 12 o'clock. And now that I'm only working with one hand, I want to make sure that I really whip that veil up to 12 o'clock. So I don't want to just accent the down. I want to really make sure that I also accent the up. 6 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 12 o'clock to make sure that I get that veil all the way up and around. So let's just mark that a couple times. 7, 8, 6 o'clock, 12, 6 o'clock, 12, 6 o'clock, 12, 6 o'clock, 12. Try it for the other side. And 7, 8, 6 o'clock, 12, 6 o'clock, 12, 6 o'clock, 12, down, up. And let's try that same thing with the music. We're going to start by turning to our left. It's going to be the right arm that leads. Left foot starting beat. 5, 6, here we go. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. And let's try it on the other side. Right foot leads and left arm leads. Down and the up. 5, 6, here we go. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Very nice job. Now let's learn a few dynamic veil tricks to jazz up our veil dance vocabulary. So earlier we worked on the fold when we were doing our chaîné turns. So the next move is one that I like to call the butterfly. It's also known as puffing the veil. And I think it looks like a big, beautiful butterfly when it really gets going. So let's talk a little bit more about that technique. You're folding the veil over and off of your shoulder. So if we start just on one side, we'll start on the right. We're going to fold the veil on top, and then we're going to release it over. Fold and release. Fold and release. Fold and release. So what my arm is actually doing is creating a figure 8 again. So here comes again the figure 8. We use the motion of the figure 8 as the base to a lot of our movements in veil dancing. Over, off, on, off. So from the side you can really see the figure 8 motion that I'm making. And the figure 8 is coming to the front of the body and to the back. So let's try that again, just taking this fold and bringing it on and off. And what we want to do is try to get it seamless. So rather than here and here, try to not put the pause or the stop in there. Really try to get it to bounce one move into the other. On, off, on, off, on, off. And the other trick to this is really accentuating the up instead of the down. So you don't want to accent the veil down, down, because you want the veil to fly. So the down is actually just the change, and what you really want to accentuate is the up, 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 and that's really going to keep your veil in the air. So notice the difference. This is the right way. Up, 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 up. And then the incorrect way would be tossing it down, down. And you can see the difference in how the veil flows. So really keep that accent on the up. Let's try the same thing on the left. So you're folding the veil on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off. And again, really accentuating that up. On, up, 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 up. And let me show you the side view so you can really see the dimension of that move. Here, 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 on, off. Switch to the left. Off, on, off, on, off, on, and off. So you really want to work with being able to get one side before you work with the two together. So when you're at the point that you can seamlessly fold the veil on and off of your shoulder, then you're ready to try both of them together. So when we go together, one is folding on while the other one is coming off. So let's start by folding the veil on the right shoulder. So as I release this one off, this one is going to come on. So the arms, you're going to be moving your arms in a big figure 8 right here. It's almost like windshield wipers on your car window. Okay, so if you see from the side, 2 figure 8s working in tandem together. And again, I'm really accenting the up, 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 up. And you can also get a little bit more movement out of your veil if you allow your body to move with it. Up, up. Now let's try that with the veil. Patience is the key on this one. This one can be a little tricky and takes some time to master, so be patient and don't be too hard on yourself. 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So again, remember, as one comes off, the other one is coming on. Here, 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 here. Okay, so it's all about the technique of really getting that veil up and dropping it over so that you can get that fold. Let's try that with some music. Sometimes it helps to actually start with one of the veil sides already folded. 5, 6, here we go. Switch, 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 switch. You can also try that a little bit faster. So let's try taking it up to tempo. 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let me show you that one from the side view. 5, 6, here we go. Another fun thing that we can do with the butterfly is we can actually change the tempo. So we could do different cadences of slow and quick. For this one, we'll try slow, quick, quick, 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 slow. So again, the sky is the limit with putting together sequences of how you could play with your butterflies. It's a nice way to enter. You could be coming in from the sides of the stage. You can change your levels. Very nice job. And continuing on, we're going to work once again with figure eights. So this figure eight we played with earlier, and it's actually the one we did for the gypsy skirt when we were here. We're going to do that same figure eight, but instead of having the arm in the back, we're going to actually have the arm in the front, right here. We'll start by just thinking of your stationary hand, which for now will be the left hand, is kind of hanging out here around in the midsection, just securing the left bottom end of the veil. And then we're going to work the figure eights with the right arm. So this time our goal is to get the figure eight to cover the span of our body. We want to go left side, right side, left side, right side. Okay, so we're swooping again, but instead of, we could do it either way. You could swoop from the bottom up, bottom up, bottom up, or from the top, top, top. Okay, so let's try that again. Your hand is here, and what you'll notice is you want to give it a little bit of flexibility to move, so you don't want to hold it too still. But as I go, this left hand is going to kind of trail and allow the space to really get those nice big arches in my figure eight. So as you see, sometimes I lift it up. It's all about manipulating it in just the right way to get the most grandeur out of your veil movement. So again, this one requires that you get in front of the mirror. You can even videotape yourself that you can play back and watch later and make sure that you really see the design that you're going for with the veil trick. Here, 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 here. So we can do all kinds of fun stuff with this one. We could be traveling. This is nice seen from the side. So if the mirror is my audience, this one looks really cool when they can see it from this angle. Another nice way is if they see it front on like this, in this angle. And this one's nice because then I can take it into a back bend. I could do the same thing facing my audience, but you probably don't want to do the back bend from this angle. So I think it looks a little bit nicer when you do the back bend from this angle and do it. And of course, the really cool one is doing the back bend from the side with the figure eight. So when you're going to do your back bends, just go, especially when you're practicing, just go as deep as you can comfortably go. You don't want to strain yourself. But one way that you can really give the illusion of a back bend is by just bending the knees and kind of leaning back. So as you can see when I do this here, I don't actually have to bend my spine and hurt myself, the muscles or the vertebrae in my back. Now if you're flexible and you've worked with back bends before, you can really go for the back bend. And also, dropping the neck back gives the illusion of more of a back bend than you're actually doing. So, bending the knees, dropping the head back, gives the nice illusion of a back bend, even though you're not really doing a deep back bend. So let's go ahead and put on some music and try those figure eights with a back bend. Let's just get that figure eight going. Here we go. Nice big arm movements. Okay, so notice how I'm opening my chest to the direction. That's really going to allow that veil to really get up and over. It's going to be a little bit harder to do it this way. But the thing is, you have to get your arm all the way behind you. Okay, so you don't want to just do it here at the sides. As you can see, if I just go to the side like this, I'm going to cut my figure eight short. Okay, so the trick is really getting it back, 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 back. Now with the back bend, Then you can allow that middle stationary hand to help you even more on this one when you go into the back bend. Yeah, let's also try it from this angle so you can see what that looks like. So if you were performing, you could actually slowly go into the back bend. And then the other nice thing you can do with your figure eights here is play with the tempos as well, like we did with the butterfly. Slow, quick, quick, 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 slow. Very nice job. All right, let's take the last few fun things that we've learned with our veil and put them into this last combination that we'll be doing. So starting with the right foot, we're going to be walking in, and once again, the TV is your audience, the mirror is our audience. We're going to be walking in with the right foot. 1, 2, 3. We're going to passe up on 4. Veil comes up into the angel. So after we passe up, you're going to lean back to the audience, shifting your weight over onto that left foot, and then shift again back over to the right foot and drag the left foot. So let's try that again. 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, passe, lean, and drag. Let's try that again. 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, passe, lean, and drag. From here, your left foot is free, open. We're going to actually take that combo and take it right to the other direction. So it's going to go left, passe right, lean, and instead of dragging, we're going to turn to our left and land our body. So you're going to be turning all the way around to land your body to face back. That'll be the next direction we're going to travel. So after we just did our lean, you're going to go left foot right. Left foot is open and ready to go. So let's try that again from our drag. We just did the lean over here and drag. Left foot leads. 1, 2, 3, passe right, lean, and left foot, right foot. You should be facing your back, facing away from your audience, ready to go to do that same combo on the left foot again. So you went starting beat right foot when you went over here, starting beat left foot over here, starting beat left foot again when you travel to the back. So let's take the two that go side to side. 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, passe, lean, drag, and a left, right, left, passe, lean, and turn around. Left foot's free. From here, you're going to do the same combo, left, right, left, passe, lean, and pose. Okay, so let's put all three of those together. Starting with the right, then the last two are starting with the left. 7, 8. 1, 2, 3. Lean, drag, and a left. Right, left, passe, lean, and turn. And left, 2, 3. Lean, and pose. Let's try that with the music. Five, 6, 7, 8, right, left, passe, lean, drag, left, right, left, passe, lean, and turn. Left, passe, lean, pose. Let's do that one more time. From the beginning, holding the first 8 counts in the music. Veil ready to go. Right foot ready to go. 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, passe, lean, drag, left, left. Passe, step, turn, left. Lean, pose. Great job. Continuing on from the first part of that combination, we just traveled to the back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The right foot is open. We're going to do some chaîné turns, 4 counts, turning to our right, also traveling back. 1, 2, 3, pose 4. So we're actually doing like a 3-step turn again. So let's just mark that one more time. We were here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're folding the right side of the veil over the right shoulder so that we can travel with our chaîné turns back to the left. And we're going to do that for 8 counts, posing on 7, 8. Posing on 5, 6, flipping the veil over on 7, 8. So we're here, and it's left, right, 5, 6, you're here, 7, 8, and now we're going to travel back again to the right with the right foot for 8 counts again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 with the chaînés, and then we're going to change the veil in 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 7, 8 is going to turn us to the front. Okay, so let's try that again. We just came, let's take it from walking back of the last combination. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Chaîné back, 2 chaînés, right foot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, chaîné. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Switch the veil. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Switch, switch. Let's add that with some music from the last part of the combo. Five, 6, 7, 8. Good job. Go ahead and practice that as many times as you need to before finishing up with this combo. All right, great job. Let's finish up this combo. So our veil is folded over the left side. We just finished our chaîné turns traveling to the right. And from here, we released 7, 8. So it's once again back over the left shoulder. From here, we're going to do 8 counts of the butterfly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So let's look at that again. We were here. We just did our chaîné turns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We went 7, 8. And now we're going to go for 8 counts again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pop it off, 7, 8. Okay, so I think I previously told you that it was 2 counts. It's actually 1 count on each side. So we are here. We went 7, 8, and then we start over a new measure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to release it off the left shoulder. 7, 8. From here, we're going to go right into our one-armed barrel turn, leading on the right. So the arm is going to come up into position on the left right away, and our counts are 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7, 8. We're going to turn to the side to take it into the next move. Okay, so right here, right after we just did our butterflies, Leading with the right foot, right arm drops down to 6 o'clock on that first count. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7, 8. Okay, so we get into position of the figure eights with the back bend. So let's mark that one more time. We just came out of our butterflies. Let's go ahead and take it from there actually. So 8 counts of butterflies. 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Take it off. 7, 8, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7, 8. You do the back side of your figure eight right here on 7, 8. 7, 8. Then we take it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're going to go right back into second time of barrel turns on 7, 8. So it was 5, 6, 7, 8. 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6. Spiral around. Take a pose. So let's mark that again. From the full measure of butterflies. 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Barrel turn. 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Great job. Let's add that with the other two sequences with the music. Good job. Great job. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you had as much fun as I did. I look forward to working with you in the next video, or even better, in person in a workshop.